Good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Friday, December 12th, 2014. And this is Live Talk. I'm Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube.
And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about President Robert Mugabe's cabinet reshuffle.
To join the discussion, phone us directly at this number, 001-202-619-2077, and we'll call you back.
And as usual, Live Talk goes out to Zimbabwe on our 909 medium wave frequency and on the 4930, 5940 and 15455 kilohertz shortwave, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m.
And on the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voindebele.com.
Now, therefore, I, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, do hereby call upon you, Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, to take the oaths as prescribed by law.
I, Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, swear that I will be faithful to Zimbabwe and in the office of Vice President will uphold the Constitution and all other laws of Zimbabwe.
Now, therefore, I, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, do hereby call upon you, Pelekezela Mboko, to take the oaths as prescribed by law.
I, Pelekezela Mboko, do swear that I will and truly serve Zimbabwe in the office of Vice President. So has been.
Congratulations.
That there was the two vice presidents, Emerson Mnangagwa and Mpoko, taking their oaths of office at the State House today. And of course, for those of you who are just joining us tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about President Robert Mugabe's mini cabinet reshuffle.
Mr. Mugabe relieved Vice President George Sumchuru and 7 ministers of their duties, and today their replacements took their oath of office.
What do you think about this issue? If you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back at the number once again, 001-202-619-2077.
You can also send us a message on WhatsApp, and our number is 1-202-465-0318. That number again is 1-202-465-0318. Yeah, mfowethu.
Onguka hamadzadiwa nasi Gibbs tira kuti tinge tichitarisa nezve mamwe makurukota nevateedzeri vaMugabe vatoreswa mhiko ivo ku State House nasi. Tichitarisa kuti vanhu ava pane zvavachaunza here zvitsva kana kuti icharamba iri ngoma ndiyo pasina chinochinja. Gibbs.
Yes, zvinokandava namhlanje ke ku Live Talk kusikoka ke ngokwezwe uPresident Robert Mugabe osethekhona hayi umnumzana Emerson Mnangagwa lo mnumzana ePhelekezela Mpoko sebeyibo phela Vice President beZimbabwe, njalo uphinde wadinga ke ababambe inhlangothi zikahulumende ezijeneyo. Yes, sifuna ukuzwa ngani ukuthi lizwe kuthiwa kuthwani ngakho khonokho. Ngenani kuhlelo kathesi nasi inombolo ufone kanye siyakufonela khona ngapho 001-202-619-2077. Kunjalo mfowethu.
I think we have our first guest, Gibbs. Let's hit the ground running. Of course, we have Mr. Rashwit Mukundu, a political analyst, a former director of MISA Zimbabwe, and currently a board member of the Zimbabwe Democracy Institute. Mr. Mukundu, good evening.
Good evening, Blessing and Gibbs.
Thank you for joining us. Gibbs, you can start the ball rolling.
Yes, so what is your take on the mini cabinet reshuffle, Mr. Mukundu?
Well, it's a cabinet reshuffle that consolidates President Robert Mugabe and his family's grip on ZANU-PF. It's not a reformist cabinet in terms of the challenges that Zimbabwe is facing key being the need to resuscitate a comatose economy. So what we are seeing is President.
Unfortunately, we are having problems there, but I think we will try to call back Mr. Mukundu. And we have our second guest, that is Anastasia Moyo, Deputy Spokesperson for the National Constitutional Assembly Party. Mrs. Moyo, good evening.
Good evening.
And thanks for joining us. Now your take on this mini cabinet reshuffle.
Well, as NCA, this is a cabinet reshuffle that is aimed at pleasing just one person. We can see that we are getting back to the old habits of the same ZANU-PF, with the old policies, old way of doing things. And this cabinet reshuffle is nothing new. It's never going to bring anything to the people of Zimbabwe, and the people of Zimbabwe should never expect any joy from this cabinet reshuffle, because it's singing from the same hymn book. Mugabe is right, sanctions. That is the song that you are going to hear from the people that have been put into this new cabinet. And there will be no divergent view. Anyone with a divergent view is bound to be removed, as was done to the people that were being removed now. So they just have got to speak from the same voice, and we are not going anywhere as a country.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Moyo. And of course, for those of you who are just joining us tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are talking about President Robert Mugabe's mini cabinet reshuffle. Let's see who is in. First, name and portfolio. There is Emmerson Mnangagwa, Vice President, is the first Vice President. The second Vice President is Pelekezela Mpoko, Vice President. And there is Mfumiri, Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare. There is Opam Chinguri, Minister of Higher Education. Udenge, Minister of Energy and Power Development. Chris Mushowe, Minister of Youth Development. Super Mandiwanzira, Minister of Information Communication Technology. Chris Muchangwa becomes Minister of Welfare Services for War Veterans. Mrs. Chimene, Minister of State for Manicaland Province. Bigi Matiza, Minister of State for Mashonaland East Province. Tsitsi Muzenda, Deputy Minister Energy and Power Development. And Monica Mchangwa, wife to Chris Muchangwa, Deputy Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting. These are the people who took their oath of office today, Gibbs.
And now we've got husband and wife, the Mchangas in the new look cabinet.
And
is this the first time that we have two people that married in the same cabinet?
We'll check our record books, but I think it has happened before. But of course, there are two, a daughter and a son, the late national hero, Simon Muzenda. Yes.
So we're told that Mr. Mukundu is back on the line. He got cut off while he was saying something. Mr. Mukundu, can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us, Mr. Mukundu? Hello, Mr. Rashid Mukundu. I think we've got a problem there. We also have Mr. Ntata Dube, right? Mr. Dube, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, kids. I can't hear Blessing.
Oh, okay. So can you hear him now?
Because I am not speaking.
I've heard Blessing's laughter. I hope no one is cloned it.
Right. So what is your take on this mini cabinet reshuffle?
Well, so to start off with, kids, I think it's important to look at this cabinet reshuffle in the context of the greater ZANU-PF internal political dispute. In that vein, therefore, after the elongated succession war, the internal retribution that saw many faces, such as former Vice President now, Mai Mujuru, Vamutasa, Vamavaire, and others falling by the wayside. It is in fact not a cabinet reshuffle. It is in fact a group takeover. So it is an exchange of one group or for another. So intrinsically, it is a reflection of internal ZANU-PF disputes. They are trying to solve their internal disputes and strengthening their power, one group taking over from another, and therefore solidifying their power all the way to cabinet. So for us, there is nothing new here. It's simply a reflection of what we've been seeing as the stone throwing, as the succession battle, as the positioning of various characters within ZANU-PF.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dube. Asi va Dube, munoona here paine zvichabva kudare remakurukota here. Tiri kuona kuti pane vamwe vatedzeri vemutungamiri wenyika vaviri. Vanhu vakawanda vari kutaura kuti nyaya dzezveupfumi ndo dzavari kuda kuti dzigadziriswe. Munoona zvichiitika here izvi?
Blessing, chatakatarisira kuti chingachinja. Hapana chitsva chingachinja. Nokuti zvese izvi zviri kuitwa neZANU-PF. ZANU-PF yagara ine gwara rawo rokuronga matongero enyika. Matongero acho nyika muchaona imimi mukatarisisa. Muchaona kuti vakutangisa kutaura kuti mai mujuru vanga vasingabati zvinhu zvakanaka, vanga vari corrupt, vanga vane upombwe, vanga vachitora ma10%. Tozoti isusu hurumende ndiyo yakabata inonzi state power. State power or state ndiyo inokwanisa kuziva zvakawanda zvese zvinoitwa naBlessing, zvinoitwa naGift, zvinoitwa naNhlanhla, zvinoitwa namai Ndoro vari kuDotito, zvinoitwa namai Hlongwane vari kuCholoto. The state inoziva zvese zvinoitwa nemunhu wese nokuti ndo zvainoita. Saka kana vaiziva kuti mai Mujuru vanoita izvozvo vanga vakavachengeterei. Saka corruption chete kana munhu wacho asingachabvumirani kana kuti akuda kushungurudzwa muZANU-PF. Saka tozoti isusu hapana chachinja. Dai zvanga zvichachinja, taiona vachisunga munhu wose anobva muZANU-PF, zonzi wose akaba, nokuti tine chokwadi chekuti umwe wacho nhasi aiswa mukabineti akamerapo oramboti nendauda masimba okuti nditore pasuccession apa ndozoita president, ndochanzwa kuti imbavha. Saka hapana chachinja. It's the same old plan which is going to achieve the same old results, which results are going to be talk, no implementation, but regression, unfortunately.
Rearranging of chairs on the deck of the Titanic, according to Mr. Dube. I think we now have Mr. Mkundu. Mr. Mkundu?
Blessing.
Yes, of course. You were talking about this cabinet. You can continue. Unfortunately, we got cut off.
Well, I think I was getting to the point that what we are likely to see is also the increased role of public and private role of the First Lady, Dr. Grace Mugabe. There could be something we don't know about the state of the health of the head of state, hence the increasing involvement of the First Lady. So we will see a much more centralized exercise of power by the president. The fact that you have the vice presidents who are also ministers of justice and ministers of national reconciliation means that much of the of power will remain with the Mugabe family. And the Mugabe family in its entirety, that is both the husband and the wife. And the fact that the husband is slowing down means the wife will be increasingly coming to the fore, and she is beginning to test the power. So we will likely see the ministers being directed what to do by the First Lady, being threatened, and this is just going to create chaos. So for me, nothing has really been resolved by this cabinet reshuffle. In fact, we still face a lot of uncertainty in terms of the political future of this country, more so on the effect and the basis that the president will be turning 91 in February next year, and he is tired and he is old and needs to essentially rest.
Thank you, Mr. Mkundu. For those of you who are just joining us tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are talking about President Robert Mugabe's mini cabinet reshuffle. And of course, we have some messages on WhatsApp. Gibbs, let's go to the messages. First, we have Peter who says, these nominations are all about loyalty. They are not going to change anything. Temba says the new ministers are just a Republican guard. Serving Mugabe is all-weather tense uselessness. Clifford says it's the same old story, dead wood being recycled. Louis says this is just the same thing and it's not going to move our country forward. Taneta anyway says this proves beyond doubt that old age is taking its toll. Fedson says the first vice president's request for tight security shows he needs Mugabe's type of convoy, meaning he will be served as the president that he has aspired to be all his life. Albert says new wine in old bottles. However, the cabinet is still too large. Dr. P says same old minds, but the only change is time. Nothing to smell about. Matthew says it's a meaningless cabinet. Zimbabweans deserve better. Brian says nothing new to expect from a cabinet still drawn from the same ideological pool. Mike says, I think the reshuffle will bring about a small positive change to the economy since there is some new blood which might be enthusiastic about bringing change. Manasa says, I just don't have a view on this new cabinet. I think it will benefit others and others will still continue to suffer. Willie says, what a surprise cabinet. Where in the world can you have the First Lady as minister? I don't know where Willie is getting that from. The First Lady has not been appointed a cabinet minister. I think we'll read more comments later on. What do you have, Gibbs?
Yeah, on Facebook, we've got one message from Welcome Chapa who says, Umnumzana ke uJonathan Moyo yena uphuweni. Uthi sikuchele khonapho ke ungani lokho ku same position, lokho khonapho la ate khona. Yebo sokuya ke umkwena Daniel says, if the constitution allows one vice president, why did the president choose two? Then Connie writes, food on our tables, that's what we want, nothing else. Then what Justice who writes, this is a non-event. All those that have been dropped, their offenses to belong to a faction headed by Mai Michuru. Those that were returned were not returned because they were performing so good, but they were the best bootlickers. Mutswanga failed and had to be returned from China. So what has changed now? And Opa Mchinguri is being paid for accepting to hand her position to Dr. Grace Mugabe. Now, in terms of Simon Kayamoyo, he is being paid for whistling blowing. So they do not have people at heart. It's all about praising and worshipping President Mugabe. Then I'll read the last one from Lloyd Nyoni, who says, this is a terribly fake cabinet. What about Kulomalafu?
Vanhu vari kutaura regai tiende kumuteereri ode kutanga mukoma tafadzwa kumasvingo makadii? Aiwa, tiripo. Muri kuona sei dare remakurukota kana kuti vatoreswa mhiko ava havasi vese asi vashoma?
Dare remakurukota hapana zvarinokwanisa kutibetsera. Tiri kungoramba tichitambura, nyika ichingotambura ichingodzokera kumashure, vachingobvisa dzimwe mbavha, vachingowedzera kuisa dzimwe mbavha futi. Nekuti votonyanyisa kuba nekuti vachiri pazhara kuti havazivi kuti konzekti yavo inopera inongowangokaruka vonenzira ratopera basi, saka vachatopinda vane zhara kuti tichida kutobawo.
Saka semaonero enyu chii chingaite kugadzirisa matambudziko amuri kutaura aya zveuori nezvimwe zvekugadzirisa upfumi?
Kana vanoita uori ngavasununguka, vanhu zvimude pachena kuti vaita uori ngavasununguka, kwete kuzoti kana vaona kuona kuti poda kuwana mwatsita vachigira wanda kuti kwai ndiye une uori. Handionisi kuti zvingafamba zvakanaka ipapo.
Zvinhu zvamurida kuti zvigadziriswe nehurumende ndezvipi chaizvo mukoma tafadzwa?
Nyaya yeupfumi hwenyika ndiyo yawira pasi. Teingokaka waya tiri kumusha idzi hatingairadzira kuti mabasa hakuna, iyo hashara chaiyo hakuna, mari yacho ndiyo ichinyanya kushaikwa wese. Hameno masirivha voda kuti uisira kuti tichauisa takabva nepa.
Saka zvese hazvisi kufamba?
Hapana kana tiri kufamba. Hapana kana tiri kufamba. Tiri kungodzokera hameno chokotiro kuti tokopira kuna Mwari, tongoti wabvena Mwari.
aiwa tinotenda ngoma tafadzwa nekupinda muchirongwa chedu. Tafadzwa is saying that everything that has to go wrong is going wrong in Zimbabwe. The economy is headed south. There are no jobs. They don't have money. And he's saying, for now, only God has the answers. He is praying for divine intervention.
Nkosikazi moyo kambe kunjalo uthi abantu kumele bebambe emkhulekweni lapha ngoba akuhambi kahle eZimbabwe.
Ngena kulanto ihamba kuhle eZimbabwe njengoba sisitsho nje njengoba abantu besitsho nje iZimbabwe kuyaditheka akulamsebenzi iindustry ifile laba abantu abangenayo lokho besebenza khona khona ama-policies awezanu-PF manje khathesi kuwesi njengoba nje abantu bezikhulumela kuwesi ngoba sekumele bathi inkosi kupresident lo vele zake akhanye esekhuluma okunye okuchiyeneyo esekhuluma ngokuthi kobulawayo iindustry ifile ibulewe yizanu kumele aphume kumbe lo muntu vele kasomuZimbabwe kufiwe icabinet le ayisoze ivele yenze okwehlukeneyo nxa sikhangele ivele worse than the other one ngoba sebekhonza umuntu oyedwa baselani lo muntu weZimbabwe nitsho lo yedwa khona nje imithetho yokuthi kulandelwa komthetho akusekho sokuyaqaliswa ukufakwa izigamba iconstitution yona lesi vele sakhuluma ngayo kudala isigamba sokuqala yiso sesiza kuba khona ukuthi upresident kumele akhethe umuntu oyedwa yena usekhetha abantu ababili iconstitution sokumele iganjele ukwenzela ukuthi kube khona esisekelweni sombuso khonokho.
Yes, yakuzwa kodwa nalifisa ukuthi kwenziweni njengoba kukhona phela akutshintsheki kathesi phela.
Hayi thina sifisa ukuthi umthetho awulandele njengoba ungumthetho uguqulwe bakhitshe oyedwa ngabe lakho ukuba lesizindi umgabe angafuni ukuthi uthabisa wonke umuntu thabisa bona abasembusweni ngapha thina isapho leZimbabwe sisendlaleni ngoba kuzamela ukuthi imali yona le ebhadala ama-tax kulokuthi ilungise iZimbabwe ilungise umnotho ilungise i-industry ibisisiba lokuyaholisa bona asebekhulile babanengi inamba yawo isinengi ngakulandele umthetho ufakelwe ukulandelwa i-constitution yikho thina sasithi ayivele ebantwini ngoba abantu bazakhuluma besazi ukuthi impilo abafuna ukuyiphila yimpilo enjani bona ama-politicians akubona kulula ukuthi bakuguqule ngoba kuzasithisa bona abantu basale bengakho ekusutheni lokho okusekuphakathi kwama-politicians akulandele umthetho kungabi lokuguquka.
Yes, akuzwa kakhulu ke hayi sibongile kakhulu khonapho ke mama Mrs. Moyo. Yeah, what she's saying is that with all this praise singing that is in ZANU-PF, chances are high that the situation will get worse in Zimbabwe because people will concentrate on praise singing, worshipping the president, and forget about the people. So she says, and at the same time, people must expect some constitutional amendments to accommodate what Mr. Mugabe has done. Instead of what the NCA says, they are saying that he should have appointed one vice president. So they are saying maybe they are going to change the constitution very soon to accommodate those two.
Mr. Mkundu, are you still on the line? Mr. Mkundu?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, we have the spokespersons for the NCA and also the MDC, MDC, that is Mr. Shasha Dube. But some Zimbabweans are also saying that the opposition is very weak and is not taking advantage of the situation. I don't know whether we can say taking advantage, but they are also saying that the performance of the opposition has left a lot to be desired. Do you agree?
Well, basically I agree because we haven't seen or heard much of the opposition in terms of challenging ZANU-PF after July 31, 2013, the election that ZANU-PF won. What we have seen, of course, is more talk of divisions within the opposition, more unification, but you don't get a sense that there is a mobilization of the citizens of Zimbabwe on these critical issues that are happening And right now, citizens are almost surrendering, to the fate that ZANU-PF and Mugabe will be here for some time to come. And for me, there's a real, I think, the challenge and an opportunity for the opposition to get more organized. To get more organized in terms of mobilizing the support base, in terms of offering alternative policy, in terms of making as much noise on all this chaos that ZANU-PF is carrying out. That's too much focus on power politics and far less on the issues that are affecting the people of this country. And for me, this is the time that we are really missing the opposition. The opposition sometimes takes a lot of time just fighting amongst themselves and not mobilizing to get power. It's as if the more, they have completely got wrong the concept of getting power by division and multiplication. They are multiplying more parties and the less the support base that needs to vote them into power.
Yes, they say if you put 4 Zimbabwean politicians in one room, they will form 5 political parties.
Mr. Dube, so what Mr. Mkundu is saying is that you guys in the opposition, you are sleeping on duty like mattress testers. So you are not, that's what he's saying, right?
From an armchair critic, it is easy to say. But from a political grouping or political groupings that were absolutely and completely annihilated by a process that they didn't understand, it gives understandable why opposition parties like ourselves have taken time to go back and try and understand what really happened on July 31. Is it what the Zimbabweans themselves wanted? Was it an expression of the people? Was it a case of an election result that was manipulated? If so, how was manipulated? It is important for us to understand that process so that when we re-engage, when we mobilize people, we speak to the issues and we have got solutions and we have got answers and we've got preventative measures. It gives painful to start mobilizing people when we don't even understand what happened, because we lead them down the same garden path. So for us, it has been a process of learning and understanding what could have happened. But we have also started to respond, Gibbs. You will know that the reunification with the Sekai Wallet NDC renewal is an attempt to galvanize, to bring together our energy. You will know that the various talks with Simbamakoni, with Tumiso Tarengwa's groups, with Love Mo Maduku as NCA, is an attempt to bring energies together so that we don't continue to subdivide like the amoeba. So yes, I agree with the previous speaker that it is important for the opposition to speak. But let me also underline that as the opposition speaks, it must speak with a difference. It must speak with answers. It must not only speak just to be heard, but it must speak from an organized position, an understanding position, one that is going to make a difference.
Thank you so much. Tinemwe mteereri vamusarewa makadi. Vamusarewa?
Tiripo makadi mkoma bless.
Saka vamusarewa ndoda kuti murambe muri parunhare tichadzoka kwamuri tirimbotora ka break zvishoma. Mr. Mkundu, Mrs. Moyo and Mr. Dube, please do stay on the line. For our radio listeners, unfortunately, you can't hear us, but we are streaming live. So you can go to www.voazimbabwe.com and press on live talk. Many listeners have been asking me, we don't hear you after this break. We are not on radio, but we are streaming live on the internet. This is Blessing Zulu.
Yeah, www.voazimbabwe.com. Lilalele ngalile internet. This is Gibbs Dube in Washington, D.C. Stay tuned.
For those of you who are just joining us, good evening, and this is Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about President Robert Mugabe's mini cabinet reshuffle today. For starters, Mr. Mugabe fired some 7 cabinet ministers and 1 deputy minister, and he also fired his former vice president, Amai Joyce Mujuru, and he has appointed 2 vice presidents, Mr. Mnangagwa and Mr. Mpoko, and also some 7 ministers and a deputy to replace those who were fired. And we want to hear from you. Do you think this new cabinet is going to deliver, Gibbs?
And as the Blessing is saying, those that are fired include the former Vice President Joyce Mchuru, the former Minister of Presidential Affairs, Titimas Mutasa. Then there was Webster Shamu, Francis Nema, Olivia Mchena, Zikamai Mavaire, Nicholas Koche, Simba Mutarigwa, and former Deputy Minister of Energy Power Development, Munacho Mutezo. So if you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number, 001-202-619-2077. That number again is 001-202-619-2077. And we'll call you back if you phone that number. Yes, go for it.
Vamsarurwa makadi musareva makadi.
Tiripo mukoma blessings ziri sei?
Kuri nani kuri sei kuBotswana?
kuBotswana kwakanaka zvako.
Handitika kuri kunaya ere?
Yeah, here and there kuri kunayawo zvako.
Aiwa tinotenda. Tipewo pfungwa dzenyu nedare remakurukota pabviswa vamwe pachiwedzerwa vamwe naVaMugabe.
Okay, ndinotenda mukoma blessing. Chokutanga chindoda kutaura, it's all about the constitution yeZimbabwe. It's a paper written thing. Inooltiwa yakasiyana netinayo kuna Mwari inonzi God's doctrine, an unchangeable truth of God. Zvinhu zveconstitution zviri kuramba zvichitaura vana NCA taura zvavari kutaura. Vari kudebata on a paper, a constitution. Ukwanisazve ivo futi mangwana kualter. Right. Tunhu chiripo chekutanga chendoda kuti ndinge ndichitaura ndechekuti vanhu vose vemaopposition party and vaMugabe ngavazive kuti vanhu belong kuna Mwari. Hakuna munhu unoita belong to a human being. Ndo nhau yasara muZimbabwe yatiita kuti tinge tichitambura yekuti people they think urikona Mugabe owns people, Tsvangirai owns people, kana the ANC they own people. Now iripo ndeyekuti ngatitorei Mwari vari kuda kukwikwidzana vaMugabe ngavasakwikwidzana on constitution wise, because vachandooltirwa zvikashaya basa nekwavari kuda kuenda, unless vakatora chokwadi chavari chinongoti aiwa vaMugabe kaimi inzi wai imi mamuoni vanhu ndevaMwari, nangwe vanhu vakanzivo vafa havasi venyu. Imo Vatsvangirai nangwe mukaunzwa kuti vanhu vafa hamusimi munoraramisa vanhu, asi Mwari ndiye unoraramisa vanhu. Vanhu vaiswa navaMugabe ivava kana vasina zveMwari hapana chavari kumbozodhilivhara kuvana veZimbabwe. Ticharamba tichingotambura kusvikira kare, because they don't have anything which is solid of the truth. They have got the constitution which can be altered at any time.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru vamusareva.
Ndingokumbira zvangu vari pavo kuti vasatinyepera. Chokwadi taakuchiziva kuti mangoshota Mwari nekuti maopposition akauya achizama nayo vaMugabe vaya va90 years kudai vachingoramba vachingovakurira zvakurova kuti paakuda chi Mwari ndokushota badzi.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru vamusareva.
Ndatenda hangu.
Of course, Mr. Musarewa is saying you can do all the talking. Yeah. But people need to find God. Zimbabwe needs divine intervention.
And that's it.
Yes.
So, do you know the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
The shortest verse in the Bible is... Oh, yeah. I can't even ask Mr.
That's
Dube.
not knowing the Bible is craving Mr. Dube.
I know that even Mr. Dube won't answer this question. Where's still Mr. Erashid?
Gibbs don't just claim what he faked about the Bible.
I'll tell you after...
read the whole Bible.
I'll tell you after the show. So, let's come back to you, Mr. Mukundu. So, Mr. Mkundu, people can say anything that they want at the end of the day. But there is this belief that almost everyone is confused in Zimbabwe. People are not proactive when it comes to politics. You sit in your home and do nothing. You just watch while ZANU-PF is doing what it wants. And they'll say, Mr. Mkundu came to this show in order to show off, nothing else. So at the end of the day, why are Zimbabweans not, participating fully in some of these issues?
Well, maybe to help Mr. Zulu there, the verses
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept.
I know it. Only that gives his...
the issue of why Zimbabweans are seemingly passive. The truth is the Zimbabweans have not been passive on the critical matters of their lives. If you go in the streets of Harare, if you go Pablawayo, if you go Mutare, every other part, I was driving from Mutare, Nazura yesterday, and you see people doing something about their lives, selling whatever they can in order to survive. So people have lost the confidence in the capacity of the political leadership in this country, be it in ZANU-PF and the opposition. And the people have just retreated to focus on the issues that keeps them going and that puts food on the table. On the table. So the reason why Zimbabwe is still what it is today is because every person wakes up every day running back and forth, doing something in order to survive. You see people selling airtime cards in the street, vending and everything, and others are in South Africa doing whatever they are doing there. So Zimbabweans have simply and completely failed to participate in the politics of the country because the political leadership, especially ZANU-PF, has been so dictatorial and so brutal in terms of dealing with the opposition to the extent that people don't even feel confident to participate in political processes. You go out and vote, you are not sure whether what you have voted for will come out as you want. You go out and try to protest, the police are there. During the government of national unity, the opposition was mimicking ZANU-PF, became almost like ZANU-PF, wearing suits and driving the same cars as those in ZANU-PF, not demonstrating leadership that is different from ZANU-PF. So if there's an era in our politics that clearly damaged the opposition, it was during the government of national unity. The only benefit that accrued from that was the use of the Zim dollar. But we even had Minister Biti saying that he doesn't not want to raise the money for civil servants. But these same ministers were buying new cars every year of the government of national unity, flying out almost every week. Mugabe, Tsvangirai, and all the ministers having something to do outside the country. So Zimbabwe has been is a political tragedy because we have failed to get a principled leadership. In ZANU-PF, they just believe that they are entitled to rule forever. In the opposition, they think that their business is just to remove Mugabe and not to mobilize the people on some of those issues. So the people of Zimbabwe have been doing something.
Interesting analysis there. We'll come to the opposition to respond to that later on. Would you have, Gibbs?
Yeah, let's get a caller. Mr. Lewis is in Mozambique. Mr. Lewis, good evening and welcome to the program.
Yes, guys. How are you doing that side, guys?
We are doing fine. How is Mozambique?
No, all right. And you guys?
No, we are doing fine.
Obrigado.
Yes. No, muito obrigado. Yes. Let me just put facts. I don't have much to say, but just to say congratulations to all Zimbabweans. It seems there's a change in our political arena. Since 1979, when we took over the country from our colonial rulers, which are Rhodesians, and then at least now there's a change in our hierarchy in our politics. And I would like to congratulate Zimbabweans for Mnangagwa being the vice president and he's well-known as a very Kepo, being also kept as the vice president. But what I want to say is it seems our political arena is on a change. The last thing that is going to happen is it's going to also be a change on the presidential, the highest authority on Zim politics. So it's a congratulations to all Zimbabweans that there's a change in our hierarchy, especially on the top politicians.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis. Where are you exactly in Mozambique?
I'm in Manica.
Oh, thank you so much.
Manica province.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming to our show today. Thank you for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Dube, your response to what Mr. Mkundu said.
Well, it's a fair take, but I think it's also important to understand that during the government of national unity, you will appreciate that the controllers of the tools of coalition or cohesive force, which are indeed the pillars of holding any government together with ZANU-PF. You will appreciate that Professor Welshman Nube stood toe to toe with the President Mugabe in Maputo, challenging the unreasonability of insisting on an election when all the issues that needed to be dealt with hadn't been dealt with. You will appreciate that he stood toe to toe and took him to the cleaner in the face of all SADC leaders. You will also appreciate that while in that government, quite importantly, Tendai Biti said that it is important that we eat that which we hunt. We go hunting, whatever we have caught is what we eat. This is what he said. He didn't refuse to pay civil servants. He didn't refuse to look for money to pay civil servants. He simply said that we can't pay that which we don't have. The civil servants bill was consuming close to 70% of what government was collecting through taxes and so forth and so on. So at the end of the day, it spoke largely to the problem that we're having economically. You will appreciate that even the ESA deal, which was meant to resuscitate this cost deal, which would have created employment, which would have created more taxation for government, was stalled by none other than ZANU-PF themselves. You will appreciate that Mawarire went and challenged a constitutional court so that the elections go ahead when we're busy arguing for reforms which were going to deliver a different election process and a different result. But it is also important to appreciate that opposition political parties are the people, are in the people. When people don't seem to link their state in life and the vote they cast, it will always be problematic for the opposition parties. Our politics in Zimbabwe, our voters still seem to behave like people that go to a football match, who will watch Highlanders play Dynamos, celebrate if Dynamos wins, and mourn if Highlanders loses. But they do not see that as connected to when they get home, whether there is a meal on the table or not. Now, elections must be directly linked to, if I vote you into power and you don't deliver, I will not vote you again. Therefore, Zimbabweans, those that should be mobilized by the opposition must understand that they are being mobilized and wanting to be mobilized so that they change their lot in life. The opposition parties, for instance, our political party, since 2011, were sleeping in the bush, sleeping with the people in the villages, telling them about devolution, understanding what their needs were. When it came to election, we got 2% of the national vote. So you can't say we're not mobilizing. The question is, what do people want to be mobilized to do? They brave enough to be mobilized. Opposition parties can shout themselves hoarse, but if people are not ready to confront ZANU-PF at the ballot box, there is not going to be change through the X in the ballot box, unfortunately.
Okay, let's bring Mrs. Moyo, since her party was not in this government of national unity. Your assessment of their performance of the opposition?
Well, it is unfortunate and it is a tragedy that in the majority of cases, when the opposition is seen, as Sankatsuya says, before they get into power, they are with the people, they are sleeping with the people in the trenches. When they get into power, they seem to forget the people. And in forgetting the people, they become the masters, the leaders. They no longer become the servant of the people. The tragedy in Zimbabwe is the fact that in the majority of the leadership that we do not have generational thinkers. We do not have leaders who think of the generations that will follow. We have, in the majority of cases, leaders who think of themselves, of their families, their immediate future, who will, when they get into power, enrich themselves. And what do the people then begin to do? They begin to despair. They begin to say, what is it that is in it for us to participate when we will not transform the kind of lives through the people that we put into power? We will vote the people into power, but they will begin to enrich themselves. They will begin to enrich their relatives. And in that situation, the people will not participate as fully as they would want to participate. So the solution is that the people that will want to be leaders and the people that are leaders should live by their word. Whether they are in power, whether they got into government or whether they have not got into government, they should live by their word. They should keep their promises. When you promise the people, vote for me, I will be with you through and through. I will be accountable to you. I will inform you of all the developments that are taking place. Some of the things that the people need is just the presence of a leader. Information. Give me the information. What is it that is happening now? But the leader disappears. So if leaders are with the people and the people work with them, then they understand and the people will be enthusiastic to participate in the issues of politics. This is what we are looking at as the NCA, where we are saying, let us be with the people, let us be the people all the time. Let us agree, let us keep our promises, let us have a even constitution. That is what we're singing about. But when some people got into power, they forgot the song where we're saying, let's have the people given constitution. And the constitution was then for parliamentarians. It was a process made by the parliamentarians. And that will obviously have an effect where some of the issues that are brought into the constitution are not what the people might want. So let's live by our words. Let's be with the people all the time for the people to be interested in being with us through and through.
Thank you so much. Regatinde kuvateereri mukoma atiwo kubotswana makadii?
Tiripo madini.
Aiwa tiripo. Muri kuona sei dare remakurukota?
Dare remakurukota vakuru vangu semaonero angu vana Munangagwa nevamwe vavo isina naopana navo nenavo hapana chinombochinja apo siya zvakadaro uri wakatogara kuZANU-PF ndokwavo chaivo kana hakuna zvekuti hanzi vana mai mujuru vabviswa vakanga vakuda kubvisa mutungamiri wenyika nehori wazobatwa ipapo saa murutiwa pawachapinda ivo havanawo zvavanoda kuita nayo homwe dzavo hadzinawo kana chunhu vanotodawo mbishana varume ivava kana hapana chirumbo chinja zvingatoita wesi kana kutobva zvatozonyanyisa bhozi vese vakupindawo nenzara ka vanga vamboripo vanga vambori nani vanga vaanani vanga vatomba vane mari manje havata nenzara kupfuura vanga vatoripo vachambozadzawo muhomwe dzavo
saka hapana chiri kubuda
hapana chinombochinja hapana chinobudapo kungatingotona Mwari chete tikambe takangoteerera izvo zvichaitika izvo kusvikira upa zvichazochinjawo ndo maonero angu mukoma iwawa.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru mukoma atu.
Alright, maita basi.
Tinotenda zvikuru. That of course is the pessimistic world of Ato. He's saying nothing is going to change. What has only changed is that there's a new group of looters who are even hungrier than before.
Yeah, Mr. Mkudu, you heard the caller, and I'll add on something onto that. You know, when you look at the new look cabinet, women, you know, there is Opam Chinguri, Tsitsimus, and Priska Mufumira, Monica Mtangwa, Jemene. But the women's affairs is empty, nothing, zero. Eh? What's going on here?
Well, the undermining of the opportunities for women to lead started with, of course, the dismissal of Joyce Mujuru, and we had the president making very disparaging remarks on the capacity of women to lead, essentially saying that there's no capacity, being simplistic, and all those kind of things. I mean, and it's unfortunate because it's President Robert Mugabe who is the leading SADC right now, which talks of a 50% representation of in political leadership between men and women. And of course, the First Lady also went on an onslaught against another women leadership. This matter could have been handled in a different manner without necessarily disparaging the capacity of women as leaders. So right now, it is going to be very, very difficult for any woman politician in ZANU-PF to rise to a position of prominence or even leadership at the national level. And this is largely because our politics is still very much patriarchal, and there is still a lot of violence that women generally are concerned of contesting for power. So for me, it's really unfortunate. And of course, the likes of Opa and Muchinguri and others forgot the whole gender question in the political fight. They should have reminded the leadership of ZANU-PF, especially President Robert Mugabe, that they still need to respect the position of women. But when he was disparaging Joyce Mujuru, no one stood up to say no. Whilst Mugabe may have his differences with Mujuru, he needs not to stereotype women political leaders.
Mr. Dube, your take on Mr. Kaya Moyo from a senior minister to the Minister of Economic Planning?
Well, serves him right, realistically, because I think for quite a while, SK had forgotten that when he sups with the devil, he must not only use a 9-foot pole, but he must also count his teeth after the dinner. So I have no tears for SK. In fact, I have no tears for anyone in ZANU-PF because they are only feeling the pinch now that they've been kicked out of the freaking top. But it's further than that. What has really happened in ZANU-PF right now is that what ZANU-PF has done is that they've taken the centering of power in the office of one person. The creation of a demigod in ZANU-PF has been translated to the creation of a demigod in the head of state. And that is exceedingly, exceedingly dangerous. Because as mentioned earlier on, I think it was by Mr. Mkundu, taking the vice presidents and making them token vice presidents by keeping them as ministers, that means that they are being kept at arm's length, therefore they can't influence the decisions of the president. What you're simply saying is that there's only one person in the 14, 15 million Zimbabweans that can adequately think for all of us. So forget Azim Asset, forget the target. Just remember that there's only one man and later one family that can think, implement, strategize, negotiate deals for all Zimbabweans. Now that is a simple impossibility, a recipe for failure, but it is what the ZANU-PF want us to sit down and say it is okay. Unfortunately, it is not okay.
Yes. Sibuye kuke mama khona ngapho ke Mrs Moyo. Nxa ukhangele ke sibonile umabona kude lapha umnumzana uMnangagwa echapha ngedolo elanda umongameli lomkakhe bengani uyamkhonza kancane. Njalo sibonile njalo ukuthi labo mama balutshwane khonapho ku cabinet yankhona akukhuluma ngakhona nje ngamafitshane kokubili.
Njengoba sithilo nje i-hero worshipping ukuthi labo abantu abafakiweyo they are there just to serve the interest of one person. Umgabe yena ngokwakhe uyinkosi uJesu abambonayo phambi kwabo. Akula olunye ulutho abalucabangayo. They will cease to think whatever they will say babe becatshangela betshele ukuthi bathini. Umama uJoyce Mujuru, it's a pity she's a woman osekhitsiwe but yena ngokwakhe asizange siwubone umsebenzi wakhe esebenza labomama beZimbabwe bonke ebutha omama ebahlanganisa ebenza bazizwe bephakathi kokubusa kweZimbabwe ukuthi labo they have something to offer. Asizange siyibone impi yakhe enjalo. Ngakho-ke kusuka kube lusizi ukuthi uhambile kungalalutho esizosala silukhangele sithi ye wasisebenzela wenza lokhu for omama beZimbabwe. But at the same time we don't condone the fact that men, it's hypocritical that they say 50% of each gender should be 50% of any position in any political party, in any government position, they should be women. And you see 3 men up there, and there is no single woman. In instance, what are they saying? Are they saying there is no capacity in whatsoever? By condemning one woman, it doesn't mean the 52% or so of the women. You can't fail. You will fail to find another woman who can do the work, which can be equal to the work that is done by the men. Thinking capacity is what we are talking about. Working with the grassroots, working with the nation. Any woman who is capable can do that. We can't fail to find one in Zimbabwe.
She's not happy. She's saying that maybe Mr. Mugabe has become a mini king. You know, we saw a video where Mr. Mnangagwa was kneeling before Mr. Mugabe and his wife. And then she goes further to say, Mrs. Mjuru did nothing for women, literally. You know, she's not happy. But she says what is happening right now is not too good.
Mr. Mkundu, we are coming to the end of the show. Maybe your final word.
Well, I think Zimbabweans need to remain hopeful on the basis that whatever way we look at it, Mr. Mugabe is still on his way out. We need to request and ask my brother and also the whole team from the opposition in Zimbabwe to really hit the ground in terms of talking to people. What is it that would make Zimbabweans vote for them? Is it just mere criticism of Mugabe, or maybe a common agenda can be developed? I'm not even saying that I will vote for the opposition, but I'm saying that the opposition must wait for its own cause. These are leaders who say they want to lead us voluntarily, so and they need to demonstrate clearly what is it that they have to offer. So I'm hopeful for the future that, like everyone else is saying, I think God is on the side of the oppressed, and one day there will be an answer. And this war ZANU-PF dominance will still come to an end. In fact, all these fights in ZANU-PF are an indication that the party will finally collapse, not from outside, but from inside.
Mr. Dube?
Blessing, they have a maxim in Ndebele which says, and translated to English, it simply would mean that even this will pass, even ZANU-PF will pass. I think Zimbabweans must remain absolutely hopeful. But I think that the greater responsibility lies on the shoulders of those of us that are in the opposition. I'll agree with Mukundu 100% to understand what is it, what narrative we need to generate. How do we need to mobilize Zimbabweans? How do we stop the continuous stealing of the vote, if the vote is stolen at all? If it is a misunderstanding of what Zimbabweans should vote for, it is to understand that and articulate.
Mr. Dube, thank you. Unfortunately, time is not our best ally, so we want to thank you, Mr. Tlata Dube, spokesman, MDC formation led by Professor Washman Ngube, political analyst Rashwet Mkundu, and NCA deputy spokesperson Anastasia Moyo. We want to say thank you to our callers and listeners. Signing off, this is yours truly, Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Kip Stube saying have a lovely weekend. Good night.